Welcome to the Shannon Wheeler Podcast. After spending 30 years in the housing industry, I have come to understand that there are two things that I love to talk about. One of those is real estate, and the other one is people. And so this is a show that is going to focus on those two things. Real estate and all the things that go on in the real estate markets, because it's of a lot of interest to me, and people, because I've learned, if nothing else, over 30 years' time, that every business is truly a people business. Thank you for spending some time with us. I'm joined today by Chance Baker, and Chance is a realtor and a builder, and so I'm just going to let you introduce yourself a little bit and tell people kind of some of the stuff you deal with on a day-to-day basis, helping people in real estate and in construction, and then we're going to talk about intergenerational living solutions. This is something that you've come across recently, and a few other things about new construction in the market. But first, just introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are, and we'll get started from there.
I'm Chance Baker, so I'm a local guy. I've lived here all my life, grew up in Murfreesboro, was born in Murfreesboro.
High school?
High school, I went to Siegel High School.
Okay, what year did you graduate?
2009.
Okay, yeah,
Yep,
I've had a couple of kids graduate Siegel, but yeah.
2009, went to Northfield Elementary, and then when Siegel schools were built, I went that direction, went Siegel schools throughout. And then, I'm with United Real Estate, Middle Tennessee now.
So first of all, just what even made Chance Baker look up one day and say, "Yeah, I like real estate. I like building"? Did you have family members that had done it, or what made you start even thinking that way?
I did not know about it, but I did have family members that did it.
Okay, so that's funny. When I came back from, you need to get a little closer.
No worries.
Yeah, there you go. All right, is it good? When I came back from Desert Storm, I ran into a guy I went to high school with. And I said, I'm looking to get into work. I'm out of service. What do you do? And he told me his dad was in something called the mortgage business.
Yeah.
Sort of the same thing. You're like, oh, what is that? I know you do these things. Okay, so then what made you think it was for you?
Yeah, so I had family members that were in commercial real estate. I had family members that built some of the biggest buildings we see in Nashville and Dallas. I had no clue.
Okay.
And they're distant family members. And I also had my great grandfather who was a builder in Nashville.
Okay.
Had no clue until after I started, getting into real estate that my family had done that.
That is pretty cool.
So yeah, he had already been out of the business for a while before I was even born. So it never even got brought up.
I can just imagine how you felt when you had all these thoughts and ideas. You're not really sure, but you kind of feel like it. And then you realize, oh, wait a minute, I was born to do this.
Yeah,
I mean, that must have been a
exactly. I was like, wait, it makes total sense.
It is all going to work out now.
Yeah, exactly. And so just at a young age, we had family friends that built houses, and my mom, she loved the idea of going to look at houses. This was before, you could look up houses on MLS and that sort of thing. So we would go, and that would be like a fun thing that we would do. We would go look at houses, and we would go inside all these new construction houses, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
That is really cool.
I always,
And so what years was this? So you graduated high school in 2009?
2009. So, I mean, when I remember doing that, it was probably early 2000s.
Okay. So here's what I think is interesting. What I think is interesting is you have a perspective of this experience that you went through, as you're telling me, looking at these houses, so on and so forth. Then the other perspective is me having gotten in the business in 1996, and a lot of the people that you deal with in real estate now that were already working in real estate while you were forming your real estate ideas, what you like, what you don't like, what you're interested in.
Absolutely.
What's interesting is the pain of those years during that subsequent housing recession actually gave a very fertile ground for Chance to have tons of new construction. Well, nobody could sell it at the time, but you're looking around like it's a wonderland.
Yeah,
it's so
interesting
how one thing becomes the birth to something else. I just think it's fascinating as you're telling me the story, because I'm like, I know why he had a whole lot of new construction to look around, because nobody could sell it. And, and so you're looking around and it becomes a playground for you, and you start putting things together. So then where do you go from there?
Yeah, I didn't even mention this, but my parents built the house that my dad still lives in '94, and it's Brent Mead subdivision, which is
Okay, I know
off
it.
of Memorial Boulevard. We were the second house in the subdivision out of like, I think there's probably like 300 homes in there.
Yeah.
And so not only that, but I got to see all those houses being built,
Yeah.
from raw land to a bunch of houses. And I
Walk
would just
past it to get every day.
every
Yeah.
day, you would ride your bike down the road and there'd be a new house, a new house, a new house, a new house, a new family.
Yeah.
And it was just very interesting, and I always
I'm going
loved
to
it.
take a little sidetrack. What do you think about the current state of the trades right now? Plumbers, HVAC guys, because you're in it day to day.
Yeah.
And I often think to myself, if I had somebody that was 25 to 35 and they could, show up on time, had a good workout, like all those things.
Yeah.
So is that reality?
It is a reality.
Or what is the current state of the trades from somebody that's right in the middle of it?
Trades are hard to come by. Good trades are hard to come by. The ones that are good, you want to pay for them because you want to keep them around.
So for people that kind of know what we're talking about, but not completely, when we say trades, what are we talking about?
Yeah, you're talking about framers, plumbers, electricians, flooring guys, tile guys, trim guys.
Some have to be licensed, some not licensed for their particular, right?
Right.
Okay.
But you need them to be honest. You need them to be there on time. You need them to be able to do the work fast, but also very good. Like you want to produce a great product. So
to be a successful builder, what percentage is being able to successfully manage the trades? To be able to bring a project in under budget or on budget, on time.
Oh, you have to manage 100%. There's no way you could do it without managing. I mean, you let one slip up on management and it costs you thousands. Yeah. And not only the cost factor, but if you're doing a custom for a client, they're going to see it because they're going to their house all the time. They're going to see the mistake, and sometimes even before you, and that's never a good thing either.
So you never want that to happen.
You never want that to happen.
Right.
Even if it's something that you knew you could fix, you never want them to see a mistake before you.
Yeah, you never want
and
them
so
to.
You have to manage the jobs, you have to manage those subs
So
constantly.
I don't know how you would do this, but if I had somebody out there, and I've got clients now that are, looking to build, looking for builders. I mean, it's like I wish I could figure out a way to get them to be able to evaluate the ability for that builder to manage their subs and manage their trades. And I guess it really just boils down to their reputation, what people that have experienced the whole process before will say about it. I guess there's no other real way. I mean, like in my business, you can compare rates and fees and service and turn times. Like there's measurables. And for builders, there's a few. Did it get done on budget? Am I satisfied with the quality, et cetera? But I wish there was a way that, because you can tell the difference between the two, but that's on the inside. The outside, how does a consumer do that?
I mean, just in my experience, it's like if I'm going to choose a realtor, I want to choose somebody that's not in the business like just to make money. Like, yes, it pays our bills, but you can tell the difference in somebody who is doing it just for money or who's in the business because they love the people and they love the business.
Yeah.
And they love houses, right? And so that's kind of the way I look at it. Like, I love housing, and it just so happens to make me money.
So you're going every day in your formative years past a developing subdivision that lays out in front of you. At what point did you say to yourself, "I'm going to help people do this"?
So it took me and my wife buying our first house, or attempting to buy our first house.
Holly, go ahead.
Yeah.
This is so familiar of a story.
Yeah. So we had, I'd always been brought up cash everything. I never had a credit card, never had anything. Everything I owned was paid for with cash. Okay. That was how I was brought up to do. Okay. That's all I knew.
Not terrible.
So when we go to buy a house, we have zero credit, like a true zero score. And at the time when we went, that was like, that's not happening. Like you can't buy a house with a true zero score. They want some type of credit.
Yeah.
So
you actually were better having no score. Having the zero was worse than having like no entry.
Right.
Anyway.
Yep. So what happened was I was like, well, if I can't beat them, I'm going to join them. So That year, my wife was pregnant at the time when we tried to go buy
So
our
when
first
was
house.
this?
This would have been in 2016.
Okay.
She was pregnant. We were trying to buy a house.
Okay.
The
10
the
years ago.
American dream.
Yeah.
And so we couldn't do it. And so I was actually working for Rutherford County at the time. I managed the landfill for the county at the
Okay.
time,
Okay.
and we had all the time. We had builders coming in,
Landfill.
dumping.
Nobody's got anything to say about the landfill.
Yeah,
So
well, that's a different
That's a
story for another day. But we would have builders every day coming in, bringing their construction debris to the landfill, dumping it and paying it. And I started talking to them. And then one day, oh man, I cannot. And this is terrible. I can't remember his name, but I think it's King Realty.
Okay.
He gave me his business card, and I had been talking to him, and I asked him about being an agent. And from there on, went and got my license. Like a couple months later, I had my license. My son was born, and the rest was history. And I was just off to the races.
Oh man.
And so that's how we were able to buy our first house. Was I got into the business myself, not even owning a house, learned the business, and then a year later we bought our first house.
I love that. So I get two very familiar stories. One, I got into business because the experience I had when I bought my first house, I felt like I could deliver a better experience. Or two, I needed to buy a house and I didn't have anybody that knew how to help me or could help me, or I wasn't able to do it. And so I did it myself. Very similar.
Yeah.
It's one of those two. I would say of all the people that I deal with that are in real estate, there's some version of that story with maybe 60% of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things. Okay. So when you got started, you weren't, 10 years experienced and a client following and new building and all those things. You were probably just like everybody else. And you said, hey, what do I have? Well, I have this desire to help. I have this love of real estate. So what did you do first? Where did you start your career? How did you kind of get started? What firm did you go with? How did you get started?
Funny enough, it's the same way that I do business today.
Okay. Because there's people out there that are watching this show that I know that are asking themselves, how do I get started? How would that happen for me? So
yeah, it's the same way I do business today. I've taken one lead in my whole career over the last 9 years. It's all word of mouth.
Yeah.
So as soon as I got my license, and I held my license with the same brokerage. Thank you, Rick Murr and Coran.
Yeah.
So I've been at the same brokerage the whole time.
Yeah.
And they've supported me.
And I mean that tracks because I've been, aware of them and their business that they've grown.
They're awesome.
Yeah, just can't say enough about what that all represents. But I didn't know that you were one of the original ones that was there.
I was one of the original ones.
Fantastic.
And I just went out and talked to people. That was it. My first client.
How much money have you made without a conversation?
A zero.
None, right?
Yeah. Zero.
Got to start with a conversation.
You got to start with a conversation. And like majority of my clients I get from church, the gym, hobbies. I'm into cars. I get from hobbies.
Yeah.
I get, just being yourself and being around people. Like in this business is if people don't trust you, they're not going to use you.
Yeah.
So you have to earn your trust, obviously. And so that's what I just go be myself. And then people will trust me to help them through the process. And I help them through the process and then they refer me. And that's how I've done my business.
So I can relate to that completely. That's part of the reason why I do the things that I do, because there are also things that I like to do and that I enjoy doing and that I find interesting. And so if you find those things interesting, hey, then it makes you want to be curious. It makes you want to solve those problems for those people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if someone comes to you and they bring you their scenario, so let's fast forward the clock a little bit. You helped, I'm sure, represent buyers, sellers, and through that, people are going to say, what's a typical solution that people need? What's a typical thing people come to you with and say, Chance, we're thinking about ... And it's changed over the 10 years that you've been doing this. But right now, in this spring, what are people coming to you saying, hey, listen, we need to ... Or we're feeling the pressure here, or we want to do this. What are the requests that you're getting? What are you working on?
Requests right now really amount to just everybody wants to time the market. We've come from a season of when rates were just really, really low and
Yeah.
when everything was booming. And people that are wanting to buy now they think they want that same experience of the low rates and the booming market, and it's just not reality right now. It may never be reality again.
Yeah.
Um, and so my biggest coaching has been just, you know, buy in a time that's right for you. Um, you may not get the best rate today. You can always refinance. If you do get the best rate today and then rates skyrocket, hey, it worked out for you. But at the end of the day, you're buying the house because either one, you're probably wanting to raise your family, start your life in a certain area or location. You got to buy when it's right for you and not when the perfect timing of the market is. It's just too hard to play.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that I know in my life will say it's not, it's not timing the market; it's time in the market.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
get in and be
exactly.
in it,
Get in it
right?
and be in it. Exactly.
My, I've got some people that you know, Todd Matherly with Edward Jones is in my business club, and he has a chart where he shows that if you missed, I think, 4 or 5 of the highest and lowest days in the stock market over a 60-year period or something, it would only move the needle a certain amount. Where the reality is, if you had just stayed in, then that's where you'd see that real benefit.
Yeah.
And housing is that way a lot. But I really understand your concern because, as a lender for 30 years, people always ask me where interest rates are going.
Yeah.
And I tell people very plainly, I don't predict interest rates, and there's very good reason for that. I can give you a little bit of an indicator. I can give you a little bit of a trend. I may be able to give you my best guess for a 15-day period, something along those lines, and I can help as much as I can. But the reality is, no one, no one in any capacity came into my office in springtime, April of 2022, and said, Shannon, I feel like interest rates are going to be double by Halloween.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show you that the for the buying public that's out there, for our consumers that need our help, it just goes to show you that if anyone is telling you, in my opinion, to make an actionable decision based on what they believe the future interest rates will be, I don't think that's responsible.
No.
That's for me. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to say it's never okay to go ahead and get in, even though the interest rate environment may be different than it was. Valid. But what you're not going to hear is you're not going to hear, hey, I know interest rates are going to be lower in a year or 6 months. And so you can make this decision now knowing that that's going to happen, because that's not reality.
Right.
And that's not really the right thing to say. I think it's much better to say, hey, the only decision you can really make an impact in, the only market you can really make an impact in, is the one we're in right now.
Yep. Today.
So let's walk through that and see if that works. How many conversations do you have like that?
Every day.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and it always comes down to affordability, right? If you can afford the market today, then you're in the perfect position to buy today. If you cannot afford the market today, then you're not in the perfect position to buy today. Because I would never want to get somebody into a situation where they've over leveraged themselves and they can't afford their mortgage payment, right?
Yeah.
So that's not my job. My job is not to do that to someone. My job is to get them in the perfect home, and the perfect home that they can afford.
Yeah. I have conversations right now where the conversation is, well, my, fill-in professional, here, mortgage, real estate, like some, my fill-in professional told me that I could do this now because in another year I'd be able to lower the rate. Not so much.
Yeah.
And now they're hitting a pain point, and it's a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
And I tell people, I got 2 jobs. My first job is to get you from point A to point B, get your loan closed on time, et cetera. But then my second job is to make sure that when you get there, you're comfortable, right?
Yeah.
So I'm probably a little conservative, but I want to make sure years 2 and 3 are just as good as year 1. So now the consumers are looking at these choices. They're trying to figure it out. So first of all, get with somebody who's going to sit down and really walk through your stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to have a choice. And the choice goes something like this: we've got prices that are still elevated. I actually contend that pricing's our problem, not rates. Rates are not the problem. Pricing is the problem. They both go hand in
They
hand,
do.
but I think pricing and pricing is held up because lack of inventory. These are all market dynamics, but it instantly spills over into this conversation of, okay, do we build? So now you have a situation where people are trying to make this decision. They come to Chance, sit down, you go through everything, and now they're like, okay, we have slim inventory to pick from because everybody's sort of locked in on a low rate. There's new construction options. Pick it up there. What have you done to address that? What are you doing in the building space right now? And what is a consumer looking at when it comes to, do I build or keep looking around existing?
Yeah, so the main factor with do I build is the land that you have to build on, right? We can't just build something
Oh,
without
that's
you
right. We
without you
can't
having
make
the
any
land.
more of that.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't make any more land. I
That'd be a
can't
boom
make
for the
it.
real estate
Yeah,
business.
if I could,
Chance put Zillow out of business.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
made land.
we would be in a whole different scenario.
Rick Coran, listen.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
Things have changed. I'm making land now. Bye bye.
Yeah. Or come on.
Yeah,
one
or
of the-
come on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's our biggest problem is land, right? They're not making more of it. Land is going to continue to increase in pricing, which is, back in the, I say back in the day, but not really back in the day. You could go out and buy a piece of land in the county, and build an affordable home on it, and raise your family there, right?
You could do that just as easily as find the comparable existing, pretty close, maybe a little more space, etc. But
Exactly.
it was a reasonable thing.
It was
Okay.
reasonable,
Okay.
and you can make it happen. These days, it's not as reasonable as it used to be, and so what we're finding is really it's kind of repeating history, is coming back to the family compound idea.
Yeah.
I mean, you look back in, recent history, that's how families were. Everybody would build on their own. You had families all on one piece of property, and then in some way we got away from that, and families started moving away from each other, getting busy, getting careers, commuting, and
working in office, no at home, no technology. There are
Right.
a lot of factors,
A
right?
lot of
A
factors.
lot of things. And so you're seeing this play out in the real world. I think there's even some other demographic factors involved. There's a lot of things.
Work from home has helped this out tremendously, where now families are coming back together.
Yeah.
They can remote anywhere. We've got high speed internet anywhere you want it now.
So are we saying as humans that we were together and then we fell away, but now we're using technology to come back
together.
So, okay. So talk about some recent stories. We've got a couple of minutes left, but talk about like some real life situations where you're seeing this happen.
Yeah, we have multiple houses that we've built and that are building. Matter of fact, we're starting one next week in Mount Juliet, where
Okay.
the one of the family members is building on the old family member's land, and they're building
Okay.
two houses. They're building a house for the mother
Okay.
and the daughter. So the mother is getting her own little small 1,000 square foot house. The daughter is building a house for her family. It's a little bit bigger. It's like 2,200 square feet, but they're going to be on the same land
How big
together.
of a plot of land, roughly? I mean, not specific, but roughly.
I believe it's 6 acres. This one is.
Okay, so you've got a family member that's got the 6 acres, and there was already a house on the 6 acres, or is the 6 acres blank?
6 acres is blank. It's raw land.
Okay.
It's ready for 2 houses. There was an old mobile home on the property at one time that was the family members. That has since been removed, and now we're gonna build 2 homes for them on that one piece.
Okay, so first thing is if you're out there and you have a piece of land like that, and a lot of families do. I mean, a lot of families have some piece of land involved somewhere that maybe one of the family members may not be able to understand how to get all the max benefit out of and figure out how to do all that stuff.
But together, they may be able to do something really great. But if they've got the land and there's maybe an old mobile home or maybe a barn or maybe nothing, I mean, I think it seems to me like the thing they need to do is get in touch with you early.
Early.
Like as soon as you think about, oh, hey, you remember that lot down at 123 Lucky Lane that we never did anything with, or that great grandma had a house on, and like as soon as they have that thought, they need to call you,
Absolutely.
right? Because there's a lot that goes into, hey, we're thinking about it to we're get the keys.
Here's the thing too. It's like you would think it'd be easy. Like, hey, I own this land. I'm going to build 2 houses on it, and no one's going to question a single thing that we do. It's not that way.
It is not that way.
Permitting is a completely different animal when it comes to that situation. There's certain things that have to be done. There's certain things that have to be submitted to each different county. Each different county permits those things completely different. Like in this scenario, the house that we're building for the mother, you can't have a laundry room in it because for whatever reason, the laundry room makes it having 2 homes on the property. And this particular county does not permit 2 homes on one property without them being split.
Okay, so I have some friends in Riverview in Murfreesboro that ran into something similar.
Very similar here in
Their
Rutherford.
deal was they had an attached one dwelling with different quarters and a stove in one and a stove in the other. Like the main house had a stove,
Then
and
make
they
'em take
wanted
it
to put
out.
a stove, and they made them take it out
Yep.
because I think that constituted 2 dwellings.
That's right, 2 dwellings.
And I get it. I don't like it. I don't love that. I mean, I feel like there's something that if mother-in-law and you have I don't know, but I get it.
That's a whole nother argument. But in my opinion, if we want to help affordability in our area, we've got to allow families to be able to build what they need to be able to build on their own property that they own.
Hot take.
Hot take.
Yeah. Okay.
If we're really striving to be affordable in our area, and we're striving to preserve what we have, then we need to be able to allow those families to be able to build what they need to build to preserve that area.
Seems like there would be a make sense solution.
It'd be a make sense solution.
Yeah. So we're doing what we can to solve
Right.
intergenerational, give those options,
And it's moving that way fast.
and not going to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's part of the reason why I want to bring it up on the show is because you're seeing it start to happen. So this family, they've got the land. Did they get in touch with you at first to get all of those initial approvals done? Was it at a certain point and they just came to you with plans and an idea?
Yeah.
When did you enter in this one?
Yeah, so they come to us with an idea, and then we've kind of altered their plans throughout. We had to submit for permitting to that municipality. They
'Cause you
come
got the
back and
counties
they
and
got the county, the
cities, you got
city,
whatever,
all that
yeah.
stuff. And so they sent us back a revision, right? It's like we're getting rezoned for a commercial from residential to commercial, but they send you back a revision
Guys,
on the plan.
This is not a
And-
new concept.
Yeah,
We're going to
it's-
house the people. I mean,
And so that's what happened. And now we've got all those revisions done. We've resubmitted, and everything's ready to go.
Yeah.
So we're ready to start building for them now. But it's different in every county. You may go to, I don't know, whatever, another rural county, and they don't have any permitting, right? And you can just do whatever the heck you want.
it's interesting. Yeah.
So it is very odd. But yes, if somebody has those questions, give me a call. Let me know what you're trying to do. We're pretty familiar with most of the counties in Middle Tennessee and what they allow and what they don't allow.
And if not,
And
you
we
can find out.
we can find out.
Yeah. Now, listen, we're out of time, but I want you
Yep.
to tell everybody how to find you. If they need to have a real estate conversation or a real estate finance conversation, new construction conversation, just tell them how to
Yeah,
find
absolutely. My slogan is "Take a Chance Home," so that's what I am on social media. Also, H&H Companies is the construction company. We do a ton of barn dominiums. So if you're into barn dominiums, we do a ton of those. But we can do anything custom. They're all stick built, just like a custom home. And yeah, reach out to me anytime.
you. And all regular real estate services,
Yeah,
representing buyers and sellers,
buyers,
United Real
sellers,
Estate, Middle
commercial,
Tennessee.
Yeah, anything
Yeah,
you need.
sounds good. Chance, man, thanks for coming
Hey,
and doing the
thank you.
show.
This
Yeah,
is
well,
awesome.
I'm going to have you back, and we're going to talk about new construction financing.
Hey, let's
How
do
about
that. Yeah, let's do that. Thank
right,
you
man.
so much.
Thank you for spending some time with us.